It is party time. It is 2022. Welcome back. The Chad Prather Show. We're in a brand new studio, brand new space, and we're kicking off 22 in a big, big way. So big shout out, big thanks to all of the folks in production who worked hard over the Christmas and holiday break to get everything moved over. It looks great. We got more surprises to come. You're going to enjoy the new Studio 22, and I think you're going to love a lot of the things you hear coming out of this studio in 2022. Let's kick it off right. Look, trust the science, trust the data, right? That's what I kept hearing from all these eggheads, these so-called scientists and doctors. Trust the data, trust the science. But let me give you a brief history of this thing we call the novel coronavirus that you're so scared of that you're going to pump this chemical into your body and then parade your beta ass through public like you did something good for humanity, just patting yourself on the back. Now, let me remind you, first they said that coronavirus came from eating bats. Then they said it doesn't spread from person to person. Then they said don't wear masks. Then they said 14 days to slow the spread. Then they said do wear masks. Then they said it's only in droplets. Then they said it's airborne. Then they said Walmart's okay, but church is not. Then they said it won't spread during protests, but it will during political rallies. Remember those days? Then they said don't trust Trump's vaccine. Then they said trust natural immunity. Then they said it doesn't last. Then they said you can trust Biden's vaccine. Then they said if you're vaccinated, you don't have to wear a mask. Then they said if you're vaccinated, you won't spread COVID. Then they said vaccinated people can catch COVID, but we're not counting those. And then they said that you have to wear a mask again. And now they're saying you got to get boosted over and over and over again. Who knows where this is going to end? We don't know what they're going to say tomorrow. And why at this point should we believe any of them? Getting vaccinated, folks, is not a duty, especially when this vaccine has had to have a redefinition of what a vaccine even is. And the reports of vaccine injuries out there are being dismissed without investigation. They're not even talking about it. It never will be a duty, folks, precisely because we already have the right to our freedom. They can't force you to put something inside your body. That whole get vaccinated shtick is based on bad data. And if you'll try to remember, stats change. And if it provided over 90% protection against catching the virus with no side effects, which was their first claim, let me remind you, it would be a good idea to go get vaccinated. But it doesn't do that. That claim was false. It does not prevent catching the virus. It does not prevent spreading the virus. The only claim left, it helps you keep from dying if you catch it, and they aren't even keeping track of that statistic. So now, again, what are they going to say tomorrow? The experts have been striking out with regularity, so you'll forgive me if I skip to the next innings worth of vaccine strikeouts and go just have a beer and forget about it. Because let's face it, coronavirus, folks, as we know it, is over. The first victim of COVID was the truth. The second victim of freedom and small business owners and employees. The third victim was school children. The fourth victim was the rule of law. After those, ad infinitum. Who knows what's coming next? So let me give you some common sense bullet points to start the year. 1, a quarantine is for the sick, not the healthy. 2, a lockdown is what penitentiaries do to prisoners. 3, social distancing is antisocial. It's all about control. 4, safer at home is isolation and fosters depression, anxiety, and Howard Hughes syndrome. 5, essential business or worker. All businesses and workers are essential, and the government deciding what and who are essential is called tyranny. 6, new normal. There's nothing freaking normal about any of this. 7, Walmart is safe, but small business and dentist offices and churches are not. Okay. 8, takeout, delivery, and fast food are exempt from contamination. Makes sense to me, right? 9, forcing a face mask on another is about control, and you literally have no right to do it. 10, curfews are a tool of tyranny. 11, liberty lost is never relinquished without a fight. The statistics are dubious and all over the place, so nitpick what you will. What we do know is it's a 99.8% survival rate. 50% of the 0.3% that it does kill are those over 78 years of age, 78 being the national mortality in the USA. Locking down a nation for a virus with a 99.7, 99.8% survival rate is unprecedented in history, and a virus is not. Folks, welcome to 2022. Now, what are you going to do with it? What are you going to do with it? Are you going to continue to cower in fear? Are you going to continue to walk around and live in some sort of cloistered mentality because of what? A common cold? A common cold? This thing that they've got now, what is it called? The Megatron, the Omicron? They got to name this thing, this crazy, deadly from outer space virus that's out here to get you. And as far as I know, just about everybody on the planet has had it over the last 2 weeks. It's a common cold. Chris, Kayla, it's good to be back with you guys. I don't know how you guys are doing, how y'all are feeling, but the day after Christmas, I came down with a cold.
So you had COVID?
I don't know. I didn't get up and just run to the doctor to go get a test.
Did you get tested?
No.
What?
No. So what's the point? That's why I say the coronavirus as we know it is over. It's dead. It's done. Now, I'm not saying that people won't get sick from coronavirus, but this mad, frenzied idea that everybody has to be controlled with fear, people are waking up to the reality. They're waking up to the reality. You know who dies from coronavirus? Fat people, okay? Fat people die with coronavirus. People with comorbidities, people with lung issues. Those are the people who are severely affected with something like coronavirus. Listen, when you're at a point in time where Joe Rogan has Malone, Dr. Malone on, has Dr. McCullough on, and YouTube censors it, takes it off. You can't even listen to the show. When they're talking, I mean, Dr. Malone created the mRNA. Did I say that right? mRNA? Did I get enough letters in there? Good. He created those vaccines. You can't catch it through a microphone either, so relax. But that's the deal. You're going to censor a guy like this? You're going to censor the words that he has to say? It's insane. So, to that point, Joe Rogan, of course, he said, you know, in case his phrase, shit gets dumber over on Twitter, he said, and trust me, it will, because the eggheads over there are going to make sure that people like you and me stay censored. He jumped over to Getter, Gettr. I don't know how many people are on Getter. I'm on Getter. I encourage you to go over there and follow me. At Watch Chad is my handle on Getter. And let's grow that sucker. I push social media all the time, but we're going to talk about the problem of social media in a little while. I haven't talked for 2 weeks. I'm going to get some things off my chest. And nothing is sacred. Nothing is sacred. But Joe Rogan went on the other day, and he said he told his 7.8 million Twitter followers to join him on Getter. When I looked last night, there was 8 million followers on Getter for Joe Rogan. That's huge. I'm sure there's probably more now. We'll check. But they ran right over there, and the whole point was because Twitter permanently suspended the personal account of Republican U.S. Rep. Marjorie Taylor Greene of Georgia over reportedly sharing COVID-19 misinformation. So what if it's misinformation? That the whole point is being able to put opinions out there, being able to say, this is what I think about this. I mean, look, at no point in time does anybody go to social media and say, you know, I'm looking to Marjorie Taylor Greene to be a scientist and a virologist and a medical doctor. Nobody's doing that. She's offering her opinion. She's putting her stuff out there the same way I do it, the same way so many other people do it. Like, you know what? I'm going to sit down, I'm going to have a thought about this, and I'm going to come to some conclusions, and I'm going to voice what my opinions are when I come to those thoughts, when I come to those opinions, when I come to those conclusions. And then they're just going to shut you down for having an opinion. Well, you're going to spread misinformation. Well, look, when Donald Trump joked in a press conference about just shooting bleach in your body, it was a joke. Everybody knows it's a joke, except for you humorless beta cuck soys on the left, you progressives that have got to come out, oh, he said inject bleach in your body. Take a joke. It was a joke. Oh, my gosh. We shouldn't be joking about things like that. Okay, so at least you admit it's a joke, all right? Because I've heard both. We shouldn't joke about things like that. Why not? Why not? Why not? I mean, he was making a point. Using humor. Believe it or not, that's still a purposeful way of getting a point across. People are so fraudulent. But to say, oh, well, Trump started, I didn't just run out and say, I'm going to buy some Clorox and a syringe and start pumping it in my body. Like, you got to be, what level of stupid have you got to be to sit there and take a politician's advice, whether it's tongue-in-cheek or even real advice, to go out there and say, oh, yeah, this is what you need to do.
I mean, Chad, isn't those people kind of like the 10% that nature will take care of them?
You mean like the Darwin Awards?
Is that what it is?
It's kind of the way it is.
Huh.
Now, I know what's funny is people are going to say, oh, but you guys on the right, don't politicize this. First of all, don't politicize this. That's my job, okay? Let me do that. You people on the right, y'all are going to take the horse dewormer. Well, what if it works? Like, what if it works? What if the ivermectin and the chloroquine, hydrochloroquine, what if it works? I mean, because in Japan, guess what? They're not doing vaccines anymore in Japan. They're only using protocols of ivermectin and hydrochloroquine. And guess what? It's working. Now, take that over to Israel. Now, by and large, people in Israel, people in Palestine, people in Gaza, that area, they're not overweight, by and large. But Israel is through the roof, and they're almost fully vaccinated. They're through the roof. And, you know, I got into a little debate with a host on this network about a year and a half ago about this issue. And he pointed to Israel as being a successful case study of the vaccines. And I said, you got to give it time. You got to give this time. And now look, everybody's vaccinated and boosted through the roof in Israel. But you know what? You go over into Palestine, and the cases are far lower than they are in Israel.
Well, Chad.
And they don't have the widespread vaccinations in Palestine.
Chad, in Australia, the government is giving money to the people that are getting side effects from the blah, blah.
Yeah, I know.
Like,
yeah.
What?
Yeah. Dude, the whole thing, that's why I say you don't know what you're going to get. You got to until tomorrow, because they're going to come up with something tomorrow, because they can't lose control. And right now they're losing control. They had to name this thing Omicron, give it some kind of big ominous deal. And they knew that, you know, it was going to be a dark and deadly winter, according to Joe Biden. Or it could just be the common cold. It could just be the common cold. But they got to name it this way. And by the way, Omicron, killing no one, nobody. Zero, zilch. That's why they've lost control. That's the fear that I have. And the fear that I have, and I don't walk around in fear, Chris, but this is what's going to happen. Because I think that this is already a manipulated man-made deal anyway. Everything from the psychological operations surrounding it, to the fear-mongering, to the virus itself. I truly do believe that. And we're not holding China accountable for this, as we should be. But let me go a step further. What's going to happen when they viralize this thing, or they mutate it in such a way that now you have basic COVID HIV? Now, I don't wish that on anybody. I don't. And I don't understand how any of that stuff works. So again, I'm just putting my opinion out there. But they start putting some weird crap together. And then what are you going to get? Because they don't relinquish control once they take your freedoms. They don't just give that back to you. They don't just give you your freedom back, and we've already surrendered it. So they've got to keep you subjugated. They've got to keep you under their thumb. They've got to keep the boot on your neck, and that's exactly what they're going to keep doing. Boy, 2022 going to be lit. Dude, I'm serious. And we're gonna do more this year. We're going to do more this year, Chris, to call people out. We're going to expose some things. We're going to do some investigative things. And we're going to give, our typical, way of doing things and just kind of tongue-in-cheek humor at times, but, rant and just go on about some things. But I'm going to give you some stuff that you can use in 22 because we're at war. Quite honestly, we've been in a culture war, but we've been in a war within the states, okay? It doesn't know geo boundaries. It doesn't know anything like that. It's ideological boundaries, and that's where we are. And they're coming for you. When they can shut you down, demonetize you, deplatform you. And I'm at a point now, and I want to talk about social media in the next segment, and how dangerous it is right now, and how they're using that to control you, control your mind, control everything from the way you make a living to your future. It's all being controlled by social media. Social media is literally killing us, and I'm going to show you how in the next segment. But folks, we got to fight this thing, and I'm going to try to give you as much as I can in a common sense way this year to help you fight those things, because we're at a battle. Complex thinking, we're in a battle, and complex thinking is the only way we're going to win this thing. Get your head straight. Get your head straight, folks. Oh, speaking of that, sometimes you might feel kind of like me that your mind doesn't have an off switch, or that tension is constantly traveling through your body. You ever feel tired no matter how much you sleep? That's me, okay? So just a few of the many ways stress, anxiety, and sleeplessness can harm your mind and your body. This year, I want you to make some changes to your daily routine that will have a big influence on your mental health and your well-being. I want you to start the year with Headspace. Now, we all say fine when we don't mean it. Fine isn't really an emotion anyway. How many times have you told yourself you're fine when all you really felt is anger or sadness or you're nervous or anxious? Headspace is a scientifically proven way to help you manage your feelings and your mental health. In fact, a recent study proved in just 2 weeks, Headspace can reduce your stress by 14%. Whether you want to relieve stress, anxiety, sleep better, improve your focus, Headspace is your everyday dose of mindfulness for real life. However you're feeling, try Headspace at headspace.com/Chad. Get 1 month free of their entire mindfulness library. It's the best offer that Headspace has. Go to headspace.com/Chad today. That's headspace.com/Chad. Buckle up. We'll be right back. All right. I'll tell you, it would not be a first show of 2022 without Sara Gonzales.
Hi.
Sarah G.
Hello. Happy New Year.
Did I send you the screenshot somebody said the other day? They said, thought you were married to that Sarah G chick.
Yes. Yeah. Broad. It was Broad.
Broad?
That's
Sarah
that
G.
Gonzales Broad.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. Only work he's my work husband, which
Yeah.
is the joke is that my
That's the joke.
actual husband
Actual husband's like
also
right down
works
the
here.
hall over there. Yeah. Anyway, you know what? Sarah,
Yes.
before we get into the next topic, I'm done with the nonsense. I'm just done with people's nonsense. Okay.
All of it.
Like I'm trying to be.
Okay.
Right? Like I'm trying to do my best to just not respond.
Yeah.
Like people have sucked the joy out of social media.
Yes, they have.
And I don't know that you ever find joy in social media, but like it's supposed to be a little bit of fun, you know? And so you have the people who just come at you all the time. It's like, hey, look, dude, I know you got a crush.
Yeah.
I don't know why life treated you poorly.
Right.
And you feel like life just hasn't been fair to you. But ease up.
Right.
You don't have to attack everybody. You don't have to be going crazy. But, you know, whether it's my marital status or how do you intend to accomplish this if you get elected in Texas? How? I plan to get up in the morning, make a cup of coffee, and just do it. Mm-hmm. All right? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Legally, legislatively, and then just do it.
Aren't we to the point where we're tired of politicians making excuses for why they don't do things?
People, you know, that's the thing. And people, that's their big, like their aha, gotcha. Well, how do you expect to do it? How does anybody do anything?
By executing it?
I mean, you haven't explained how he'll do anything. Well, just because you haven't seen it
Right.
doesn't mean I haven't said it.
Right.
So, I mean, God knows at this point I've said it.
Yeah.
I've said it. I shouldn't have to go back through all of the volumes of your show to get answers. No, I'm supposed to be at your beck and call to answer every damn thing that you ask.
It's funny that you say that because that is something that I notice particularly, I mean, I get it a little bit, but particularly with the people who respond to you is that you are somehow beholden to them and you have to respond to what they say on social media.
Run for office. That's what'll happen.
It's incredible.
Yeah, you run for office, and that's exactly what happens is that you're supposed to answer every single, some schmo. I've asked questions for weeks. Bro, I hadn't seen you. I haven't seen you. I don't know who you are.
Don't know who you are.
And I haven't seen your questions. You know how much comes at me all day, every day?
Right.
Well, you're running for office. Yeah, okay. Well, I mean, tell me when Greg Abbott's responded to anything on social media.
And you have Greg Abbott's cell phone number? No?
Yeah. I mean, I'm reasonably accessible.
Right.
And I respond.
Yes.
Way more than anybody else. And if you think all these other candidates are responding, oh, no, they hire people to do their responding.
Yeah.
You get a response from me. It's actually coming from me. Yeah. I mean, we opened our 4th field office over the holidays. It's a Ford Explorer. So do you think, and I want to talk about the social media thing because it's killing people. Do you think you're on Getter?
Yes.
You go over to Getter?
Yes. I've been on Getter.
Well, I've been on it too.
Yeah. I've had an account there. Yeah.
What's yours?
Sara Gonzales TX. Okay. Same as my Twitter.
Same as your Twitter.
Mm-hmm. They made it very easy for us to migrate over.
Well, they basically gave you the same followers too. I mean, the whole thing migrates over. So encourage people to get over there. You got the Omicron probably?
I mean, I don't. All I know is that I don't now. You're going to make people in the studio nervous. I don't have anything currently. I just still have this
tickle
in my throat.
That's a symptom.
Well, that's what I was saying. Like, and when you feel it, I'm like, I have to cough right this second, or I will die.
Well, that's what I keep doing too.
Yeah.
And if I think about coughing, I have to cough.
Yeah.
Or if I hear someone cough, or anything, I just have to cough.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I had the flu. I had the actual flu.
That I was told that didn't exist anymore.
And it really I really did not feel good for a few days.
Yeah.
Went and got an IV, and got the electrolytes and the whole thing, the vitamins pumped in there. Sometimes you need a little extra.
Those are amazing.
Which I take on the daily. I take zinc. I take quercetin. I take BDC. And I take, and I've got a little tincture that I take. That's pretty good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it.
So there you go.
You just like dabble in homeopathy, it sounds like.
A little bit.
Okay, I like it.
I get tired of taking a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
But then I went and got a blood ozone treatment.
Oh, I haven't done that.
You should try it. So
I'm interested.
The Woodlands Natural Health Clinic, they'll do a thing where they take your blood out, not all of it, just a little bit of it.
Well, I mean, I hope not all of it.
And they run it through the machine. It ozones it. It fuses ozone with the blood, and they put the blood back in you.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really good for like cleaning your arteries and your brain.
How does it feel when they're doing it?
It doesn't feel like anything. It just feel like you're getting an IV.
Weird.
It looks weird. It's blood.
Yeah.
So, and we're going to run out of time here in a second. But you're staying. You're not going anywhere, right?
Yeah, sure.
So, AOC. Before I talk about social media killing people, the AOC thing. So Ron DeSantis has basically created a mecca for the elites, where everybody's running down there hypocritically and running to Florida and partying and buying houses like Nancy Pelosi bought a $25 million place. AOC goes down to party. I guess it was New Year's, and she's maskless.
Yes.
Did you see all this stuff?
I did. I was so shocked because AOC has told us that masking and vaccinating until we die are so important.
Not in Florida, apparently.
Imagine my surprise that she escapes to Florida, of all places, so that she can go hang out with no mask on.
And then she came out wanting to talk about how everybody wants to date her.
Well, if you're criticizing her.
If you're criticizing her, you want to date her. Is that the logic? No?
Obviously.
Like, I can't imagine, like... maybe I did kind of say that a little while ago. This dude has a crush on me.
You have a crush on me, and I almost said something.
Yeah, so maybe that is the logic that's there. So see, inadvertently, you just want to date me.
I mean, I think the difference is that you were joking, whereas she is not.
Yeah, I don't think she is.
She actually thinks that people think this way.
Imagine having to hear that voice, like wake up to that, go to bed with that, like.
All I'm saying is I seem to recall when she first came into office, her boyfriend was much skinnier. And now he's not.
Pop that picture back up there. I haven't seen. So throw that picture back up there, Chris. Okay. All right.
He kind of looks
like an ex Chris Pratt. Like the way Chris used to in Parks and Recreation.
Yeah. He looks like a chunky what's the prince that's not relevant? Yeah. No. Harry. Yeah, Prince Harry with the red hair.
One.
Yeah.
Okay.
He looks like a fat
I don't know.
I
don't see these people. That's how little I know about AOC. Honestly, I don't know anything about her.
Well, I mean, I say that is a positive.
I mean, I can't say anything about gaining weight. That's all I've done for the last 6 months is just stress eat and gain weight. I'm fat.
You're not.
I am fat.
No, you're not.
It's official. In the first segment, I said the only people dying from coronavirus are fat people. I got to be careful. They're going to target me. Sarah, they're going to come after me.
Well,
it's not going to be good.
If you want to lose weight, it's all in your control.
Yeah, I'm going to. I got the new bike.
Really?
I'm riding the bike.
Oh, that's exciting.
You know, granted, I haven't been home in 2 weeks.
So it's just a regular stationary bike?
Yeah, it's the Echelon.
Okay.
Not the Peloton, the Echelon.
Okay, I have to hear if you like it or not.
I love it. It's great. It's just as good as the Peloton.
Yeah. That's what
I had a Peloton.
Right.
I won't say where it's at now, but I used to have one of those. Y'all can put two and two together.
You bought one anyway.
I own it. Somebody else is riding it. Story of my life. So the Echelon is actually good.
Huh.
Yeah. Maybe we can get them as a sponsor on the show. I'd probably need to drop 25. before that
We can
happens.
track your progress for them. That'd be a great spokesperson.
Okay. Hey, we're going to take a break, but probably one of the smartest things you can do right now is stock up on emergency food from My Patriot Supply. Long-term storage food stays fresh up to 25 years, so it's going to be there when you need it. My Patriot Supply is the most trusted preparedness company in America. They've served millions of families and have earned over 47,000 4- and 5-star reviews. Right now, you can save $50 off their 4-week kit that gives you breakfast, lunch, dinners, drinks, and snacks. I look like all I've been doing is eating My Patriot Supply, okay? 2,000 calories a day. All you got to do is go to preparewithchad.com and get your $50 savings. Your order is going to ship fast and arrive at your door in unmarked boxes for privacy. So go to preparewithchad.com, save $50 off each 4-week emergency food kit you order. Those who know what are coming are using today to prepare, so you should as well. Go to preparewithchad.com. Preparewithchad.com right now. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Hey, folks, it's not every day that you get to wake up, take a peek at the news, and think to yourself, dadgum, Detroit is leading the way. Good for them. Their school board has come out and stated that they will not be opening for the first 3 days this week, and they're not even going to be holding online classes. First of all, they apparently don't have the necessary ability to put all of that together on short notice and, how to run a school district and all that stuff. And more importantly, they must be seeing what we all know. The next variant is apt to be a computer virus, right? I mean, they're going to come up with something. Just watch and see. So you might be saying to yourself right now, hey, did Chad fall out of the truck and hit his head over the Christmas break because he's describing a furtherance of the intellectual shit show that is the collective government response to the Omicron variant, a thing which seems very likely to be what ushers us into a new era where COVID is basically the flu. Yet he's calling Detroit's decision good. Yes, because a stopped clock is right twice a day, and this is Detroit's shining moronic moment. Yes, COVID cases are on the rise because Omicron is coming for all of us. It's going to get you too. And if you think that the sniffles and the sore throat are the end of the world, I'm not sure where you've been for, forever. But here's the beauty. School children in Detroit will now receive 3 fewer days of indoctrination with all of the BS we don't want them to be indoctrinated with. So there's the silver lining. That's the silver lining. That's it. It's a small step, but it's a step in the right direction. And if you're living in Detroit and you're having to deal with the fact that your kid just got 3 more days at home, first of all, you have my sympathy, not because you can't go to work, but because I'm sure, like most people, you were, you're right there at the end of your rope towards the end of the Christmas break. And now guess what? The rope got a little bit longer. I know that right now that length of rope and the one in the rafters of the attic are looking mighty tempting, but don't do it. Don't hang yourself. Okay. It's just kids. And you had them, you get to keep them. But it's a good thing. Make the most of it. You've got 3 days. Why don't you see how much American history and American values you can cram into those days, into their little brains? Why don't you see what good you can instill in them during this time? Think of this as a trial run for the day when you finally listen to this guy and you pull all those kids out of there permanently. Get them out of the public school system. Check your local private schools. See about some co-ops, even homeschooling. See what they're like. Don't think you can afford that? Well, maybe look into it. See if there aren't payment options available that you hadn't thought of before. I said it before the break. I'm nowhere near done saying it, and we've got to get our kids out of these public schools. Set aside for the moment that they've become these Marxist education camps. Set aside that they're encouraging a lifelong world philosophy of stupidly subverting the dominant paradigm in favor of literally anything that feels good or fun in the moment to believe. Set all of that aside and just realize that the people who are in charge of all of this, from the highest levels down to whatever percentage of the actual teachers themselves fall into line on these things, are a bunch of knuckle-dragging idiots. They've turned the education and edification of our kids into a dice game, and if that doesn't make you mad enough to mad enough to spit, then you're not paying attention. So thank you, Detroit. Your education system is on par with your public works department, but at least there's a silver lining. Get your kids out of public schools. And I want to qualify by saying that, no, I'm not coming at the teachers. People say, oh, you're just coming after these educators. No, you're not being allowed to educate. That's the problem. And it's not a public education system. It's a public school system. That's the problem. It's not an education system at all. The only thing they're educating is Marxism and socialism built on the Dewey man system of humanism, and you can't argue me on that point.
Well, I mean, also, I wouldn't totally discount the idea that sometimes, yeah, we are coming after the teachers.
Sometimes we are.
Because there are a lot of teachers that really suck. And
sometimes they are.
If you're going to be the one to generalize and say you must mean every single teacher that is out there is bad, then, I mean, I guess that's your fault for generalizing.
So I talked about the SEL, of course, a while back on social media. I talked about the social emotional learning. I said that's going to be another way that they start to infuse critical race theory and ultimately Marxism into the educational paradigm. And people were saying, no, we have to teach SEL every day. We have to teach emotional well-being and all of it. And I said, no, you don't. That's the whole point. It's not the teacher or the educator's responsibility to teach my child emotional well-being. That's my job as the parent.
Right.
Okay? Just like it's not your job to teach them about their sexuality or sex ed or anything else. That's not your job. Now, we've relinquished the reins and given it to you, which is unfortunate. And I appreciate those of you who are trying to stand in the gap and step up from a right perspective. But it's too easy to pervert that and make it a wrong thing, right? So look, if your kids are going to be in public school, demand that there's cameras in the classroom. Demand that there's cameras in the classroom. Our kids are being just inundated with this garbage, and I take it all the way back to what I keep teasing, and that is the death of us through social media. Social media has become not only a problem for the way we don't think anymore, but you think about what's polluting our kids' minds and they're told is important. They can't think past 15 seconds of a TikTok video. I got stuck on TikTok the other day. It's a dangerous place.
It is.
It's a dangerous place, and I avoid it. I just don't open the app, right? So people are like, yeah, but you post on there. No, I have a 12-year-old kid that posts on there in my name, all right? So it's not even me. Every time I do a video, they're like, hey, send it to us, and they'll post it up. I don't interact on that platform. I just can't. It's a waste of time. But what's amazing to me is how much time gets wasted for these people to be able to waste your time. The dances and the lip syncs and the acting out and the stuff. And look, you and I are both guilty. We've done it.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's entertaining. And to a degree, we get paid to do it.
Right.
Right. It's sort of our job.
Yeah.
But I'm amazed at like how much time wasting. But it's created the inability to think. It's killing us, this social media thing. And then when you come out and you realize how much human trafficking is going on through social media, you realize more fentanyl has been seized at U.S. borders than heroin for the first time in U.S. history. In 2021, they've gotten more fentanyl. More was seized than heroin just in the last 2 days of 2022.
Let's go, Brandon.
I'm telling you. So in 2 days, they broke the heroin record. It's a 2-day deal.
It's incredible.
Yeah, and you know how they're doing it? They're harnessing drug trafficking through social media applications. Everybody's got social media on there. They're communicating. These cartels are communicating to one another. These networks are communicating to one another. They're getting around the algorithms. They're using emojis. They're using certain code words that are in there. And it's telling you that's the direct link between how all this stuff is happening.
Isn't that nice that they're still allowed to be on there doing that? But if you share what they call disinformation, which just ends up being true 6 months later, you get kicked off of their platform.
Yeah,
that's nice.
You get kicked off, you get silenced, you get deplatformed. This is disinformation. At what point in time are they going to come out and say, the fact checkers were wrong?
Right.
At what point in time are those little mouthpieces going to be called for what they are? Because let's face it, they've gotten it wrong a time or two.
I would venture to say more. It would be closer to like every time that they've gotten it wrong.
Yeah.
But they won't, because that makes them culpable, and they won't accept responsibility or blame for any of it.
No,
so they'll just keep shifting it.
They're not going to do it. So I'm just saying to these parents, Detroit, they're just going to not go to school for 3 days. Whatever. The problem is, you say, oh, well, it's erring on the side of caution.
Oh,
no, they're just going to keep doing dumb stuff like this.
Well,
right?
I mean, if you want to talk about erring on the side of caution, then, don't drive your kids to school because you might wreck in the car.
Right.
Right? Like that's erring on the side of caution as well. I mean, you get to a certain point and it just becomes ridiculous.
Like if you knew you were driving your kid to a place that said Marxist re-education camps,
right,
would you still do it? Because that's what this is, right? But they're getting into the thing where they're just teaching kids. They're like, hey, you got a little fear of something. Well, we'll just take a break. We don't need to face it, right?
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, that's in essence what they're instilling in people's minds right now. Again, Omicron variant, not killing anybody.
No.
It's not killing. It's the cold,
right?
All right?
Well, and even when it comes to children, there was never a reason for concern in any of them.
my God. And what little bit of football I did get to watch over the holidays, these commercials that are out there just talking about, getting your 5 to 11-year-old blah blah. I'm like, golly, that's why I like, Chris, I don't know how long I'm going to have a gig because like I'm so wound up right now as we're moving into this year that I'm just done pulling punches. I'm just going to start like pulling, wham, like there it is.
Yeah.
Like there it is. There, hold it. You know who's dying. You know who's dying from COVID? Fat people. All right, there it is. Let's go. Let's just call it the way it is.
Yeah. I honestly, I think that every reasonable person in America is where you're at right now. So I don't think that that's going to hurt you.
Yeah,
I mean, I think
so.
there are even people who are on the left who are like, this is ridiculous, you guys. I came out with that. I covered that song and wrote my own lyrics. And I had so many people reach out to me who do not like agree with us politically, but they were like, I was vaccinated and I completely agree.
It's
I'm
coming
done.
around. And there's a perfect example that we're going to there's my cough. There's my Omicron, my Megatron. We're going to take a quick break. Come back. I want to point to a perfect example of exactly what you're saying. Of people just going, you know what? Screw it. We'll show you. Y'all hang tight. We'll be right back. So, you know what happened? They told Brandon Brown with NASCAR, they're like, we're just not going to sponsor you, right? I mean, he had nothing to do with the Let's Go Brandon
of course
thing.
not. Of course not.
Right?
I'm sure he wishes that that's what people were actually chanting.
Right. So they're gonna nail that on him, and then the same media that created NBC that created that, they're gonna keep blowing this thing up and say, "Oh, that's vulgar and that's hate speech and blah blah blah." Mm-hmm. You created it. Mm-hmm. You created it because you're stupid and you don't know how to do media.
It's a right-wing slur.
Well, hang on before we get to that. So whenever they were saying, well, he's just not going to have any sponsors, I said, baloney. If he would just say, hey, I'll get the quote-unquote right kind of sponsors.
Yeah.
Then
it's NASCAR. That shouldn't be too hard.
Shouldn't be a problem. Mm-hmm. I mean, you can't put Mike Lindell's face on the hood of your car? You can't My Pillow that thing? Come on. I mean, what you talking about? You can't have a BlazeTV car?
Yeah.
I'm talking.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
And so now that's actually what happened. They came out with the Let's Go Brandon car.
Yeah.
The Let's Go Brandon crypto, the LGB coin, right? So now they got Let's Go Brandon crypto. I don't accept it yet, so y'all have to keep sending me Venmo. Chad Prather 22. But cash is still king. But so Brandon Brown, if he plays his cards right, he's gonna come out on top.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the day, you know how you shut people up? You go out and win races.
100%.
You go out and win races. You go out and be the best at your game. You don't be Bubba Wallace that politicizes something and you're a mediocre NASCAR driver.
Yeah, I would also, lean into it.
Yeah.
Lean into it.
100%.
They're trying to cancel you anyway, and you didn't even do anything. Your
100%.
name just happened to be associated with it, so why not lean into it?
Show the car real quick, Chris. Maybe? We got that sucker? There it is. Oh, yeah. Let's go, Brandon. In a world where Chevrolet won't sponsor me anymore. So ominous. I love it. Yeah. Garage door coming up.
Oh, boy.
Brandon walking. Here they come with it.
Wow.
LG Brandon. LGBcoin.com. I'm going to buy some of that.
So funny.
Look at all the LGB on there. I love it. Classic.
I love it.
Listen, man. Whatever. What is it, a right-wing slur?
Yeah.
That's
right-wing slur.
The whole thing. Stupid.
Coming, brought to you by the same party who continued to say F Trump. And showed decapitated heads of him and all of the others. Again. Right-wing slur. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen.
With all of it. So done with all of it. It's just stupidity. One thing that remains the same, speaking of stupidity, is the stupidity which is TikTok. And this social media that we complain about, it still does serve some good. And part of it is just the sheer, pure, unadulterated entertainment value that it brings me in the D block of the Chad Prather Show. So our first 2022 Make Chad Feel Guilty TikTok of the year. Go.
At this point in my life, a pickup truck with an American flag attached to the back speeding down a street gives me pause, and I look for safety.
It gives her pause. What was the last thing she said?
And I look for safety.
Look for safety. Okay. I mean, you do that. I mean, that's
it for me personally. If I see an SUV driving down the street and there's a parade and a black guy with dreads is driving it, I'm looking for safety.
It gives me pause.
Yeah, that does give me pause, and I look for safety. It gives me
pause is what that does. If I see,
I don't think there was an American flag on that one though. So.
No, there wasn't.
Yeah,
there wasn't. I mean, again, and you can only imagine. And we'll talk about this some tomorrow. Just the garbage rhetoric that's going to be coming out as we get closer to January 6th. All right? Because these people are they have finally found something that will make them truly be the victims that they need to be. Just validate their victimhood. And
they think.
It's just the dumbest stuff in the world. No, that doesn't give you pause. I don't think that there's a band of pickup trucks that are tormenting your neighborhood, lady, with their American flags in the back. I don't think that they're coming through like bands of marauders like Mad Max or Beyond Thunderdome or The Road Warrior, where this is a post-apocalyptic society and everybody just coming through with skulls hanging off the corners of their truck, on pikes with an American flag, that big, bad, mean American flag.
You don't think American flags are violence?
I mean, you know what? Yeah, duh. It gives me pause. I mean, well, I'll tell you what. Self-isolate. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, because nobody's paying attention to you. Nobody cares. Nobody's out to hurt you. Nobody's out to harm you. Nobody's out to get you. My God.
You're just that irrelevant.
I mean, it's just nobody. I mean, like, you're not even enough to troll at this point in time. So I'm glad that we had an opportunity to do it here on the all-new Chad Prather Show. And hang tight. We'll be right back. All right, Sarah, thank you for coming on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
I'm excited about a new season of The News and Why It Matters as well.
Me too. Hopefully you'll be joining us a little more.
Yeah, I don't think I have a choice. I look forward to it. I have signed a new contract with the Blaze. They were gracious enough to let me continue running my mouth for a living.
We're happy you're here.
And so, I mean, where else am I going to go? Where else am I going to go? There were a few caveats. They said I have to continue selling chadonblaze.com t-shirts or shop.blazemedia.com. We have to sell those t-shirts. We must sell. So go to chadonblaze.com. I think you could probably still use the Chad20 promo code anywhere you shop.
You must sell that merch.
I must sell that merch or I will not get paid.
How do you plan to do that?
By telling these good fine folks to go get we're going to put some more merch up there. We're going to put more designs. We're going to focus on putting more designs on the chadonblaze.com. And you have your merch. It's on there.
Yeah,
we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it in our final segments. We're always going to talk about it. Folks, my goal in 22 is to grow this show. I need you telling people about it and putting people onto it, leaving us ratings and reviews, all those kind of things. Till then, we'll see you tomorrow night. Love you. God bless you. Talk to you then. Bye.